your outlets. Let's do it. Let's do our thing, and it's pretty next level. Very excited to be here. My name's Tony Basilio. Maury Hanks is there, along with Matt Dixon. We will have a cast of folks that are going to stop by. C's going to stop by. We're going to have some other folks in the hunt with us as well. But in the meantime, Tennessee draws either SMU or Miami of Ohio in Philadelphia on Friday, and for the rights to play Virginia, more than likely, in the round of 16. The rights to play Virginia, more than likely, in the round of 16. But let me get without further ado, because you really got to win one before you got to get a foot in the rung here in this tournament. So let me bring Maury and Matt in here. Eminem. Maury, your thoughts on the draw. Let Matt's voice rest after his work earlier today.
Tony, I think it's a great draw. Again, I don't know a lot about Miami of Ohio's individual, players. I know that they won a lot of games. They didn't play a lot of great people. They won a lot of close games. If you look at like I talked about, I think the other day, teams that make tournaments or don't make tournaments win close games. And they won probably 4 to 6 games by 4 points or less. But Tennessee's playing on Friday. Mm-hmm. These guys are going to play Wednesday in Dayton. As soon as the game's over, get on a plane, fly, get there early Thursday morning, try to get their legs and play on Friday. I think it's a great draw in terms of that for them. Number one. Number two, don't know a lot about Miami. I think SMU is a great matchup for Tennessee.
Yeah, they're little, Maury. They're little. That's one thing Tennessee's going to have is a real advantage up front. We were talking about this. Should it come to pass when it looked like Tennessee was, going to end up, maybe at one point you would have thought Miami, if they would have won their league, I don't know where we thought they were going to come in, but Tennessee sees them now as a 6 seed, or they see SMU. Matt, either or, I think are pretty good draws. I wish for B.J. Edwards he could play. That kind of stinks for him that he's fighting an injury right now. That kind of really is sort of a bummer.
Yeah, you hate it for really any guy, but a guy, local kid that was at Tennessee, and what I think is his last year, but you never always know with that. But yeah, to get injured late in the year is really, really hurts his team. There's a couple of teams dealing with injuries, but no, it's a pretty good draw in that opening round. You'll get a team playing off the 2-day rest, which can be helpful or hurtful. You just never really know. But I think Tennessee matches up well with either of those teams, and especially against that Miami, Ohio team who, even though they can shoot a lot of threes, they have nothing inside. I think their biggest player they play is like 6'8", so that's a game you can really dominate inside, and as long as they're not just draining threes at a high clip, you should be able to beat them. So, good draw for the first round. Second round, potentially some trouble there, but that's the lower seed for a reason in that matchup.
The Larry kid.
Tony, another thing about SMU, they've got before the injury to Edwards, they only played 7 guys more than in double-digit minutes. Mm-hmm. They had 7 guys that played 10 minutes or more, and most teams are 8, 9, and 10 if you look at it. And now if you take him out of the equation, they've got 6 that have played double-digit minutes.
SMU, by the way. SMU has opened as a 7.5-point favorite. Somebody's saying in that early matchup. There's already a lineup there in the Miami, Ohio SMU game. Of course, Miami, Ohio lost last time they were out. Got beat in their conference tournament, but they're right here. As Titans Bills calling my personal cell phone, Matt. You like that? By the way, 865-200-5402. If you want to jump in with us, look, Tennessee's got, I don't want to say a clear path this week. Nothing for this team's easy, and it's not a clear path. But the point is that when you look at this draw, this is a really, really good draw for Tennessee. You're going to get a team in the first round. You're either going to be a 6.5-point favorite against or a 12.5-point favorite. And you're either a 6.5 point or a 12.5 point favorite in that game. Then you'll take on a Virginia team that's probably, Virginia might be a 1 point favorite, or you could be a pick against them. But the truth is, when you look at who else, you could have seen, Tennessee gets a nice draw in Virginia. It's a winnable game, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. Now, Virginia has Ryan Odom there. They had an ill-fated Tony Bennett handing the ball to a assistant coach deal last year, and they bought themselves some ball players this offseason. And they're 29-5, but when you look at it, they didn't play the best schedule in the ACC. They lost to Duke both times they played them. And the truth is, Illinois, Michigan State, or Gonzaga, I think, would have been harder draws for the Vols. Matt and Maury, do you guys concur with that if Tennessee would have drawn an Illinois, a Michigan State, or a Gonzaga on the other side of that those would have been harder draws than this Virginia team will be for the Vols?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, I don't know, but maybe they're the bottom of the 3 seeds.
Yeah.
I think Illinois got more firepower. Gonzaga's always been a good team. Michigan State with Tom Izzo. So yeah, you'd think that, but Tony, they won a ton of games. I mean, they won a ton of games this year. And
yep.
I was listening the other day to some show. I mean, they won 29 basketball games this year. They went, and the ACC's not great, but they went 15-3 in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And so. They and again, like you mentioned, they did not play a very good non-conference schedule. But again, Ryan Odom, for first-year coaches, usually don't play really good non-conference schedules in the first year. They want to build up wins. They want to get the fans excited. And, they did a good job with that. Getting back to SMU, they played, I think, Ryan may have, they played Mississippi State. They played Texas A&M. I think they played somebody else from the SEC that Tennessee played.
Matt, when you look at this draw, it could have been worse. I'm not sure it could have been better for Tennessee, Matt, looking at it as a 6, an opportunity here.
Yeah, I mean, your first round game, you're the better team, and you just kind of have to show up and play. Virginia, pretty even matched against Tennessee. They have maybe the best shot blocker in the country, and they have, I think, 2 7-footers that they play inside. So that obviously is potentially an issue for Tennessee, but that they play at one of the slower tempos like Tennessee. So that's one of those games where it's going to be every possession is going to matter, like Maury talks about, and there'll be a lower scoring game that is going to be close, and it probably comes down to who makes plays down the stretch. So that'd be a fun matchup, and if you get in that game and you have a chance to win late, you want your stars to be able to have the ball in their hands, and then you just see what happens. But no, it could be a lot worse. I think it's probably the best 3 seed draw you could have gotten, and it might be the best potential 11 seed matchup. Although I wouldn't have minded, even though that South Florida team's going to be a Cinderella pick by a lot of people. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a mid-major version of Alabama, who Tennessee matches up really well against.
Oh, they love those teams. We're getting some talk here from somebody close to BJ Edwards that knows him that he's suspected to go Wednesday. Hey, listen, I hope that's the case. I hope for his sake he goes. All I can go on the information that we have, which is he's been sort of out and he missed the conference tournament. I hope he can play. I hope for his sake he can play. And it'd be a great story if they can get past their first round game and he gets a crack against the school that he left. I mean, it's a good story. I think this is a good draw for the Vols. Let's talk about the teams that didn't get in. I was pretty impressed with how reserved Bruce Pearl was, guys. The first 4 the last four in the field are NC State, Texas, SMU, who the Vols might see, and Miami, Ohio, who the Vols might see. First four out, two from the SEC, Oklahoma and Auburn, one of whom the Vols eliminated on Thursday, San Diego State, and Indiana. Do you guys have a quibble? Does anybody have a quibble with any of the four in or anybody that got left out? Maury, any quibbling on your end?
No, I mean, again, Tony, you take one team out. I don't think any of those four teams just were, if you look at them, they're NCAA tournament teams. You know, people talking about expanding the tournament, and you're just doing that to make more money. Because, like I said, Indiana, I mean, some of those teams down the stretch were just god-awful.
Just awful. How about you, Matt? Any quibbling?
No, not really. I mean, I don't think Miami should be in the play-in game. I just think you should reward winning games. You know, I know their metrics are awful and they haven't beaten anybody, but 31-0, still 31-0. They should have at least, gotten into the real thing without having to win a game. But no, I mean, three of the four teams that you mentioned that were left out are in the two major leagues, so I had plenty of opportunities to play their way in. And San Diego State, kind of a big name, had a lot of tournament runs and made a Final Four recently. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't know anything about them, but they, that Mountain West typically really underachieves in the tournament, whether that mattered or not. But I don't, all those teams could have played their way in and didn't. So when you're at the bottom of the bracket, you don't get any credit for just playing a tough schedule if you didn't beat anybody.
And Tony, the Mountain West, like Matt said, this year it's down. Boise State, which is usually is a very good program, is down. Colorado State is down. There, they got a new coach there. Remember the kid from Northern Iowa that hit the 3-pointer to beat Kansas, Ali Farouk. And New Mexico's down a little bit with the first-year head coach with Richard Pitino leaving. So their San Diego State's metrics weren't as high as they may have been in past years.
Lee,
so again, I don't look and say, hey, team one should have been in instead of that team.
Lee has now joined the fray. By the way, the Gill guy who is over the selection committee chair, who's a conference commissioner, said that the Miami of Ohio team Tennessee might see was actually fourth, the fourth in the field. They're not one of the last teams seeded into the field, in other words. They were actually fourth, but then they scrubbed down as they did some of their scrubbing, whatever the hell that means. But let's, hey, Lee, give me your thoughts on what you see, Tennessee's draw, and then we'll work our way outward.
Yeah, I thought Tennessee's draw was I think it's pretty reasonable. It definitely could have been worse. That's for sure. I had a feeling this morning that we might that we wouldn't know who the opponent was tonight, that we might have to wait until one of the playing games, and that's what it ended up being. I think Miami of Ohio and an SMU, either one of those, I think that's pretty favorable for Tennessee as opposed to what it could have been, I think, versus a VCU or a South Florida or one of those type teams. I mean, I think if you're Tennessee, you're pretty happy with this.
Let's go to the phones at 865-200-5402. Again, 865-200-5402. Of course, I guess the one question, guys, is if Miami of Ohio is, in fact, was clearly into the field, as we were led to believe, then why are they in the playing game, Maury? Can you help me with that? Why'd they feel the need to put them in the playing game? I think they were one of the
because Tony, if they've changed it a few years ago, so they didn't put all the historical black college in the play-in game, and the teams from like the American East and things like that. So that's why they made the NC States of the world and the Texas of the world in the play-in game as well.
It's been a real advantage, by the way. The play-in game has been, Matt, you were talking about that. That's a little bit of my fear, Matt, that maybe SMU gets through this round and gets a run at it.
One of the teams gets hot.
Yeah, and BJ's healthy and all that.
Since the tournament expanded to 68 teams, I think it's 2011, 6 seeds actually have a losing record in the opening round. It's like 27-29. So they're the only higher seed that is that. So, yeah, and I just think you have teams that clearly were on the bubble, so they've been playing in tournament mode for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And then plus they get the advantage of having played in Dayton if they win. So they kind of have a lot of momentum going for them. And if they catch you, if you're a 6 seed, you're clearly been in the field. Maybe you've sleptwalked the last month and you come out flat in that opening game. I think that's probably what happens a lot. But no, it's an interesting spot in the field. And the weird thing about 6 seeds, and I don't know how this is possible, but a 6 seed hasn't made the Final Four since like 1993. And which is kind of insane.
First time for everything, as the old country song goes. Hey, Lee, do you have a quibble with what happened at the back of the field? Did anybody deserve to get in that didn't get in, or anybody get in that didn't deserve to get in your mind? And then we'll go to the phones.
I don't think so. I actually think they got this about as good as you can possibly get it. Just if you combine the predictive metrics like Ken Palm and net with the resume metrics, the wins above bubble stuff that rewards your resume, I think they almost got it exactly right as far as the teams that are in and the teams that got left out. I have some quibbles with some seeding and stuff with some teams for sure, but as far as the teams that got in, I think they did. I think they got it exactly right. I don't have any issues with any of the teams getting in that got in.
To the phones we go. So again, Tennessee, what separates them in the Sweet 16 is a team that they're 6.5-point favorite against, a 12.5-point favorite against. That's one of the 2 opponents that are going to battle Tuesday or Wednesday rather. And Tennessee will see them Friday in Philadelphia. Maury, what do you think? What TV window? You put events together. You doing this all over the world. What time slot will the Vols get, you think?
Tony, I don't have the whole schedule in front of me. I know they play in Philadelphia. I couldn't tell you.
Evening,
hopefully
early
for the
evening?
Vols, it's not real late at night. Hopefully they're, not like in that 9:30 window.
Yeah, because you've got Tennessee versus that game's winner, Virginia Wright State. You've got Kentucky, Santa Clara, and Iowa State, Tennessee State. I would think, Matt, they would put Kentucky, Santa Clara in primetime, yes? I would think they would want to do that.
Yeah, Kentucky, whenever they play, they will be a primetime game. So, yeah, they'll be a night game.
And so, Mo, if that's the case, and you got Iowa State, Tennessee State on the other.
Yeah, they're in again, and some of it's determined by where the games are played. They're in Central Time Zone.
That's right. They jump around. Yeah, Kentucky and Iowa State are in St. Louis. You're right.
Central Time Zone.
You're right. So I wonder though if they put them in early or late prime because they are in the Central Time Zone. That's another interesting point. But let's go ahead and go to the phones. We'll get as many people in as we can at 865.
Tony, one thing: if I was Tennessee, I'd like to play as early. And again, they probably won't because. They did that the first year or two. They had games in Dayton a long time ago.
Yeah. And
the teams had to play early, and they're like, my God, our plane was late and this and that. So if I had to guess going off of them playing a team that's going to play on Wednesday, they'll play. I don't think they'll play like in the first bracket because of that. Because if they did, to me, that's a huge advantage for Tennessee, especially if you're playing a team like SMU, which if Edwards doesn't play, they've got 6-7 guys that play double-digit minutes.
Yeah.
Their legs are going to be fried.
Lee, when you look at that SMU team, how fearful are you of them against us?
Well, obviously, the B.J. Edwards status is massive. I mean, they're saying Andy Enfield is saying he's going to be back, and they're saying he's going to play.
Right.
So it's massive. Like, that's everything to that team. If he plays, it's obviously a much, much tougher game. Boopy Miller is the other guy on that team, is their point guard. And I think he's 1,000% legit. He's the kind of guard that's been giving Tennessee problems all year long. He's ridiculously good off the dribble. He's really good at setting up their offense, and he's really good at hunting a shot when he needs to score. So he's the scary part if you're Tennessee is kind of slowing him down. That's the guy you've got to focus on. But they're not a team that's really going to attack the rim at all. They'll drive and kick. That's kind of what they do a little bit. But like I said, it's Boopy Miller and it's B.J. Edwards, and that's kind of the team. So it's not a terrible matchup for Tennessee. Size-wise, Tennessee could really, I think, have their way with them on the boards and in the paint. But it's just Boopy Miller's the guy you've got to focus on, especially if Edwards is out.
By the way, SMU has just updated their website here in the last little bit as I've been looking at it. It says B.J. Edwards expected to return to competition and be available for the NCAA tournament. So that's the songbook they're singing off of, which is great for him. I would hope that if they get an opportunity, SMU does, to play Tennessee, if they get through that playing round, again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. For the kid's sake, I hope he plays. So I don't know what that makes me from a Tennessee perspective. Am I a turncoat? I don't know. I like the kid. I hope he plays. I don't want them to win in advance, obviously, but it would really suck if you play the long season, get hurt for your conference tournament, and then don't get a chance to play in the NCAA tournament. But let's go ahead without further ado and go to our phones. As it was reported by the Auburn media, and Maury, you'll like this one, Stephen Pearl showed up there and said that he had Airbnb'd his home out for this weekend, Maury, for the NCAA tournament. So he doesn't have a place to stay this weekend, Maury. Would you like to offer him? No, I'm serious.
Stop.
No, I'm serious. That was reported down there. Am I?
They must. The thing that I would say is in Auburn, he's not paying his coach enough.
Back to the.
I mean, he's not. He's. There can't be that many people that are as cheap as you, Tony. And number two, he's got to be making enough money that he doesn't have to Airbnb his house.
Matt, do you buy that report down there? It was a reputable reporter, Matt. You buy it?
I think you got Richard G. Wested by college basketball.
Let's get our next call in. I love
Tony,
stuff like I know, but I love
that stupid.
I love repeating stuff. I just like having fun with it. Hi, welcome in. But Stephen Pearl, you can stay home now. Let's get our first call in on our draw special 2026 style. We'll go through the brackets here momentarily, talk about who's got a run in them, who doesn't, talk about some of the upsets in the first round as we continue to look through it's like you're in a state of shock when you first see the bracket. It takes a while to digest it. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hi, Tony. It's Zach.
Hey, Zach.
Oh, man, I wanted to sit in that hot tub at Steven's house with Bruce and his new missus and just party it up. That's sad. That's not true. This team, so from what Maury says, I mean, I've always thought it's good to play a team. I thought it was beneficial when we got the play-in game, but
yep.
Of course they would be playing kind of a home game, I guess. I think somebody already said that. And you really don't think that this is going to help us in any way? I don't see this. You actually see it as a benefit to either Miami or SMU?
I have no way of knowing. I mean, that's the thing about the unknown aspect of the tournament. You can sit there and talk about it till you're blue in the face. Truth is, when the ball's tipped off and Tennessee's got to do what they do well, but they've got to make some outside shots in any of these tournament games if they're going to win. But they will. If they see Miami, Ohio, they'll pound them down low like Matt was talking about.
I would hope so. And just like I've been seeing Darius Acuff, continue, like it feels like he's still driving the lane against us.
Yep.
I mean, does any of these, does BJ, is he that kind of guy that gets downhill real easy? I mean, does Miami seems like they're more like a perimeter team.
Miami is a smaller perimeter-oriented team who really, they won 31 games, but if you look at it, they played a lot of close games, which, again, they won a lot of close games. They played a lot of close games. How many of them would qualify as real, high-level quality wins? Not many.
Well, they didn't play a quad one game all season.
That's a problem.
So I'm kind of like, I guess it would be interesting to see BJ, but as a Tennessee fan, honestly, I don't want to see it because what would happen. I mean, this is Tennessee. What would happen if we saw BJ Edwards, whereas if we get that,
well, that's a good point.
I mean, what would happen.
No, that's a interesting point you bring up.
Well, I hope we have. And I don't know if it's a disadvantage to not be able to scout out your team. Everybody else has their scout. But the tournament kind of just was maddening to me, and the way Vanderbilt and Duke Miles thrashed. One thing I will say is I heard on Friday night, I heard Lenardi say that, and this is on Friday night because I do want you to talk about Florida in a minute, getting thumped by Vanderbilt. But, these 1 and 2 seeds are already set on Friday night. So the point, these tournaments in the season conference tournaments are totally pointless. However, I am curious what you think about like Vandy and how they finished in Arkansas. But past once we get past the Tennessee discourse. But
thank you, Zach.
I don't know, man.
Let's tackle that. Thank you, brother. All right, guys, Vanderbilt. Let's talk about Vandy's draw. Lee, obviously, they're playing great basketball. If the Miles kid can continue to progress, I mean, they're going to be a nightmare for some people. What do you think of their first-round draw as they open with McNeese? And on the other side of that bracket, Nebraska has – talk about never, Matt. You talk about Miami of Ohio and no wins, no games against. Nebraska's never won an NCAA tournament game, and they're going to try and draw first blood after going 2-4 after that 20-0 start. And on the other side of that bracket is Troy. Vanderbilt's got to feel pretty damn good about their chances of getting to the Sweet 16, unless I'm missing something here, guys. What do you all think? Lee, you first, then we go around the room. Let's start with Vandy.
Yeah, seeding-wise, I think they got kind of screwed. I don't think they should be a 5. I don't know if I can make an argument they could have been a 3, but I thought they should have at least been a 4. That being said, that they've got a great draw, like a great draw. I mean, I bet them against McNeese literally, like some of these books are throwing lines up right afterwards. It's a great matchup for them against McNeese. Like McNeese wants to force a ton of ISO. That's all their defense is built on, and that's a big-time problem against Vanderbilt. I like Vandy a lot in that first-round game, and then potentially getting Nebraska, I think it's another really good draw for Vandy. I think we see Vandy in Florida in the Sweet 16. I think we see that, Matt. I don't see how it doesn't happen. Like I think they're going to see Florida again in the Sweet 16.
Maury, how surprised were you that Vandy did what they did against Florida, and how much of that was just Florida tapping out and wanting to get back home?
I don't know. I mean, they may have wanted to get back home, but Vandy played very, very well in that game.
They really did.
From start to finish. They got the lead. When they got the lead, they kept the hammer down, and they didn't let Florida, get back to it. And every time Florida tried to make a run, Vanderbilt was just there, to put it away.
Vandy, in my mind, gets a great draw. Your thoughts on that draw, Maury?
Oh, like Lee said, I mean, McNeese State, they're an interesting team, and they've got a bunch of transfers. They've got a great fan base down there. So for a small school, Southland school, they've got NIL. That's where Will Wade was. The AD there, Heath Schroyer's a former coach, so he gets it. He's coached BYU, Wyoming, places like that, UNLV, and so he gets it. So McNeese State is not as like a small time program like you may think being from there. But like Lisa, I think it's a good matchup for Vandy. And again, Nebraska, I hope for my good Fred Hoiberg, they can win a game.
Be a great story.
Get that monkey off their back. But
yep.
I think that would be a good game. But I think, I don't know what the line would be, but I'd probably favor Vandy if they play Nebraska on a neutral floor like they will.
You know what's really interesting, too, about that Nebraska deal is you could kind of sense at the end of the year, I don't want to say the air's out of their balloon a little bit because that's not fair, but, man, they had a great start to the year. That game with Michigan that they played on that Monday night was a damn classic. I mean, it was a classic basketball game. One of the great games of the conference
they
season.
still finished. I mean, Tony, they still finished 26-6. And in Ken Palm,
you're right.
They're two spots behind Vanderbilt. It's not like there's a huge discrepancy.
Matt, your thoughts on Vanderbilt's draw, and then we'll go to Arkansas.
No, everybody's kind of already said it. Really good draw for them. Really a bad draw for like McNeese, who's one of the better low major teams and I think they even won a game in the tournament last year. But
yes.
And none of those teams have the kind of size that can take advantage of Vandy inside. So I think Vandy versus Florida in the Sweet 16 is a very likely matchup.
It'd be a hell of a fun game too, because Vanderbilt already knows they can beat. Vanderbilt knows they can beat them. I mean, it's
Vandy does what you have to do to give yourself a chance versus Florida. Like, even though they're going to get beat up on the boards, they're not going to get killed in the shot volume because they're going to turn you over, and they don't turn it over themselves. And they shoot the ball really well. Those are like 2 or 3 things you have to do against Florida to give yourselves a chance. I mean, the first game they played earlier in the season, they almost beat, and then they crushed them yesterday. It's everything that you have to do on paper to beat Florida, Vandy does very, very well. So if they were to see them again, Vandy's going to go into that game with a ton of confidence, and Golden's going to have to make a lot of adjustments if he sees them in that game.
Let's talk about Arkansas.
Vandy has an edge at guard, and guard plays all that matters in March more than anything. Vandy would have an edge in that.
It's really interesting, guys. All right, let's go to Arkansas gets Hawaii, who are back in after a decent absence. And on the other side of that table, in that bracket, the 5 and the 12 is an interesting game. You've got Wisconsin against High Point. Maury, we were talking about High Point the other day. They're one of these mid-majors that spends a lot of money. People are thinking of High Point as some, like, upstart, kind of mid-majory. They've got great facilities. They've got somebody bankrolling them, and they're a 12 seed, Mo. High Point is a 12 seed.
Yeah, I thought that may have been a little low. They have a first-year head coach. Al Huss left to go be the coach in waiting at Creighton. But I thought they may have gotten again, is there a big difference between 11 and 12? It matters who you draw on the other end. But High Point's been good for a few years, and their league's not overly tough and whatnot. But that's a good matchup with Wisconsin in the first round.
What about, guys, Arkansas, Hawaii? Lee, I start with you. What do you think of that matchup?
Yeah, so Hawaii just played Fullerton a couple of days ago. Fullerton plays exactly like Arkansas. They get up and down the court, play really fast. Hawaii had to bring out a zone to beat them. They're probably going to bring out the same zone to try to play up against Arkansas. The problem is Fullerton doesn't have a Darius A cuff. Like they're going to force a bunch of ISO, and against the A cuff, that's kind of spells disaster. Arkansas is not going to have any issues with Hawaii at all. In the second round they're probably going to get in Wisconsin. High Point in Wisconsin will be a really super fun game. I don't think High Point has the horses to run with them for 40 minutes. We'll see. I mean, it should be a lot of points, but against Wisconsin, look, Wisconsin have shown they can step up and play against anybody in the country. They've shown, but they can also they can also lose to a lot of teams that are subpar too. A little bit of Jekyll and Hyde. So Arkansas versus Wisconsin would be a really intriguing matchup. That's not going to be easy for Arkansas to get through there. That feels like a coin flip to me.
It's interesting. It's you can see some volatility. These matchups are going to hide in plain sight a lot of times, the upsets. Will we see them? We had kind of a chalky, from a mid-major perspective, we had sort of a chalky tournament last year. Any of these mid-major guys, when you look at these teams, and then we'll go back to the phones, any of these mid-major teams jump out at you guys as first-round winners?
I love Northern Iowa against St. John's. I think it's a brutal matchup for St. John's. Northern Iowa is going to completely deny all transition in that game. They're going to turn it into a half-court slot fest. They're going to employ the pack line. Like, it's everything that St. John's doesn't want to see. Like, Northern Iowa's going to make them execute in the half court. That's going to be really ugly. Like, Northern Iowa's good, man. I think, I'm not sure if they can pull the upset, but man, they can take that thing down to the wire. I think that's going to be a low possession grind fest. And I think they can have a shot to pull that one out at the end. That's one that I circled.
Mar, your boy Seth Davis said he was surprised to see St. John's there. He thought they belonged on the 4 line. You agree with that?
100%. I think they're the biggest. I think they could have been no lower than a 4. But you got to put somebody somewhere. But I just think for what they've done during the year, and that. But I Northern Iowa is a good, solid team, but I just think Pitino will use this as a as a rallying point for his team to
no question.
get better.
He's the best, man. Pitino's the best.
The game I find what Lee was talking about picking a game like that is St. Louis and Georgia.
Talk to me.
I think St. Louis can give them a game. I don't know what the line will be or whatnot, but I think St. Louis had a great season. I think they can give them a game.
Hey Lee, they didn't have a great finish to the year.
Danny White will certainly be watching that game.
The guy from St. Louis that Danny likes a lot against his brother. I wonder who Coach White will be cheering for. That's an interesting point there, Matt Dixon. Matt knows what he knows because that coach signed an extension. He's going to hang around up there until somebody pays his buyout, so to speak. But if I'm a living Vol fan, I would watch that St. Louis team as well. And when they see Shirts, Lee, what are they going to see in him? Because I got to know him when he was up here with the Rail Splitters. Shout out to Emma and all the great Rail Splitters. Lay it on me.
Yeah, he's a really good basketball mind. They run great stuff. Since day one of the season, I'm super, super high on them. The last month, I've soured on them quite a bit. I think they're soft. I think any team that throws any physicality at them is going to beat them. If you look at what they've done away from St. Louis, like their best win is like against, I think they got Stanford maybe, or they did beat Santa Clara, which was like their best win by like 1 point, I think. Or maybe that was the game they lost by one. They haven't done very much away from home. And going back to last month, they've been down by double digits on the road to teams like Duquesne, Davidson, Richmond. Like I said, I think they kind of front run a little bit. They're very organized and play within structure, and Georgia's going to turn that thing into a circus. I'm not sure how much St. Louis is really going to like that. Avila can bring Cyril out from underneath the basket, which is big, which will probably give St. Louis a chance to operate. I kind of lean St. Louis in that game, but it's not the worst matchup for them as far as Georgia's not overly physical. So that'll be a really fun game. That game's lined at like a pick. It's like Georgia -1, so it's kind of a coin flip game.
Kentucky, I got to ask about that, then we go back to the phones. Kentucky, Santa Clara. C was telling me the other day that he did not want to see Santa Clara on the 11 line if we were a 6. He said that was the one team that could send us home with a case of rice-a-roni. How does Santa Clara match up, you guys feel like, with Kentucky? And could they send Kentucky home with a case of rice-a-roni in the first round? Anybody have any thoughts on that one?
No, I just know Herb Sendek's great coach. NC State, Arizona State. They're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to turn the ball over. One thing he does to get ready for the NCAA tournament is he plays a pretty good non-conference schedule. He's always looking to. A couple of years ago, he's in my event in Destin where we had Oregon and some other Power 5 schools, and he looks to play those games, early on. They opened the season. They knew McNeese State was going to be good, so they had McNeese State come out and play. They went and played at Xavier. He tries to play, tough teams early to get ready for, March.
It's pretty interesting stuff. And that Kentucky team.
It's a terrible matchup. It's a terrible matchup for Kentucky.
Really?
Kentucky's only 1.5 point favorite.
Let's go, Matt. Let's go, Matt Dix. How funny, Matt, would it be to see them getting beat in the first round, Dixon?
Oh, it'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. That'd be incredible. That's the kind of team they could lose to, too.
100%. If they get behind to Kentucky, if Kentucky gets behind, Santa Clara won't beat themselves.
Clara's 37 in Ken Palm. C was right. That's the team you didn't want to see. They got a future pro in Alan Graves. It's like 6'11" big man that step out, shoot the three, shoots 42% from three. They've got 4 other guys on that team that shoot over 37% from three. They can spread you out. They can play inside out. Yeah, I love Herb. Herb is the man. Like, he's done an incredible job at Santa Clara over the last 3 years. And I'm glad he's getting a chance to get in the tournament this year. It's a dangerous team. I think it's a brutal matchup for Kentucky. There's a reason why that line's only 1.5.
Maury, Santa Clara has some NIL money. That looks like a rich school. I visited Kerry Keating out there a couple times.
They have a little bit, Tony, but they don't have a lot. A lot of those schools, it's Gonzaga and then St. Mary's. They're probably in the same boat. Maybe they're a little bit better than San Francisco. But Herb's just a really, really good coach. A really good coach.
Back to the busy phones we go. If you want to get in on our Bracket Buster special, It's our draw show on a Sunday. We've been going for about 45 minutes so far. I don't know. I guess we'll stay on for a few more. And
he's a former assistant at Kentucky, I believe, Tony.
Let's get our next thoughts. Our next call in. Hello, you're on the air. We got Matt Dixon in the house, Lee's in the house, and Maury Hanks. My name's Basilio. Hello, you're on the air.
Well, your name's Bacilio, actually.
Oh, welcome in.
This is Music City Sam in the house.
Hey, Sammy baby. Welcome in, brother.
How's it going?
Good.
Hey, I got to email you. I need to get in touch with Lee because he's in Nashville. I'm in Nashville.
Yep.
I want to meet up with this guy.
It could be a meeting of the alleged minds, if you will.
Very alleged.
Yes,
Very
sir.
alleged.
Yes, sir.
Tony, nothing would surprise me with this Tennessee team at all. Nothing.
Oh, they're capable of losing they're capable of losing their first game. There's no question about that.
They're capable of out rebounding anyone by like 30. It's just crazy. It's the most maddening team on earth.
Well, the problem with the Vols is they have two competent offensive players, and they have a bunch of pieces that kind of semi-fit together sometimes and sometimes don't. And when they don't fit together, it can really, really, really bring some ugly results.
They could look like Estrella has he has got a beautiful inside game.
Yes, he does.
When you watch it, when he gets cooking, it's so incredibly fun to watch. And then the next game, Estrella's he's on it, and then the next game he has 2 shots.
That's He's kind of the poster boy for the inconsistency of this team. He's not the only culprit, but he's sort of the poster boy for what you get from this team. Because depending on when you see Estrella, he's either a world beater or he's getting run over. This Tennessee team, like Matt said the other day, they just every game with them was pulling teeth this year because they don't blow anybody out and they don't get blown out. They just kind of do what they do. They do enough things to stay with people. I think this is a good draw from the perspective of they could have had on Sunday Illinois. That would be a loss. They could have Michigan State on Sunday. That would be a loss. And they would have they could have Gonzaga. That would be a loss. Instead, they get Virginia if they can get past Friday. And Virginia, that's a beatable team for Tennessee. That's a team that's, you look at what they do. They're 27th in offense. They're 16th in defense. But they play in a league, that's not this league. It's just not. But they were on the floor with Duke last night. I mean, that's, they lost by 4. But, I mean, certainly they have a credible basketball team. And their roster is pretty well paid. NIL-wise, they put a roster on the floor commensurate with what the Vols have and what the Vols have spent. So, they've kind of, and they're a program that love their college basketball down through the years, obviously.
Well, the Vols were on the floor with Houston.
Sure.
And beat them.
Sure.
That's the craziest thing about this team. Man, it's just maddening. I don't know. I do not know what to say past that.
My thing is about Tennessee, when you look at this tournament run, after Ament plays Friday, what's he going to have left on Sunday? And who knows?
Did Rick Barnes really say that?
He absolutely
said it.
If they beat
Vandy, then he wouldn't play?
He absolutely said it, yes.
Why would you do that? Like, what's the point?
Well, he knew he was gassed. He said we shouldn't have played him today, is what he said.
No, I know why he said it, but it's like, why would you say that?
Because he's honest.
Crazy.
No, he's an OG coach, man. Those OG coaches, they say whatever they want to say.
He's a 70-year-old man that's 100% honest.
They don't care. OG coaches don't care, Sam. It's one of my favorite things about basketball. Those guys will go before a microphone and It's like when you're an OG, you can, like Karen Weekly yesterday, after Lady Vols had the best start in school history, and she's like an OG in her sport now, and she ripped them yesterday. She said, our effort was awful today. We gave no effort. You're not going to win if you don't play hard, and we didn't play hard. And and I don't sign up for that. She's an OG. When Kim Caldwell says it,
it's incredible.
When Kim Caldwell says it, guess what happens to her? She gets hammered. Her resume's paper thin. Anything else for us, Sammy?
Oh, no
Thank
more.
You, my brother.
Go Vols, always. I love them.
Good talking
to you.
I'll be
there for him.
You're the man.
Lee, hit it. I'll see you.
You're the man, Sammy. Sounds like we're hooked. We're getting some relationship going here. I don't know.
Had they beaten Vandy,
yeah,
I wouldn't have been opposed to them not playing a minute. There was big questions this morning as to whether or not Calipari was going to play Acuff today, and I wouldn't have blamed him if he didn't. Acuff's been in a boot for 2 months in between games.
Hey, Lee,
he went ahead and played them, but
yeah, I don't understand burning guys up for a conference tournament. What do you have to gain for that?
Yeah, I don't think the games mattered today. I don't think it mattered for Vandy looking at their seeding. I don't think it mattered for Arkansas looking at their seeding. So,
hey, Matt Dixon, I'll tell you who it mattered for. Matt. You ready? It mattered for Auburn that Ament played. It mattered for them, Matt.
Yeah, we knocked them out of the tournament.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
G-Max Tapeworm has made an appearance over on our YouTube page. I know we're having a good show when G-Max Tapeworm makes an appearance. All right, guys, let's pick the field. Duke, Siena. Obviously, Duke gets through in that game. Ohio State, TCU, guys, in the 8-9 game. Who we like? Give me somebody. We're going to pick our champion right now. Anybody?
I'll take Jamie Dixon in that type of matchup.
All right, let's take TCU. St. John, Northern Iowa. Are we picking an upset there, or are we staying chalk?
Lee said Northern Iowa.
Let's
stay with Coach Patino.
Yeah, let's say St. John. I'm going to stay with my boy.
If you're filling out a bracket, I would pick St. John's.
Okay. That's what we're going to do.
I think Northern Iowa was going to stay in that game.
All right, TCU or the Johnnies, boys? Who we got going through?
No, it's Tony, look up. It's Duke. It's Duke and TCU.
That's right. I'm sorry. On the other side of that is Kansas and what is that?
Cal Baptist.
We got Kansas there. Okay, so Kansas against St. John. Who we got, guys?
I'd take St. John's, but I don't know about the other two gentlemen.
All right, you boys decide. We got 3 of you in here.
I would take St. John's over Kansas.
Yeah. Kansas just hasn't played well all year, and with
they got
the one kid just in and out.
Yeah, they got some funky body art too, or body language rather.
That's an elite coaching matchup, though.
No question.
That it is.
We got Duke St. John. We'll put Duke through into the Elite 8. All right. Now, over here, we got Louisville, a team we saw, against South Florida, an 11 seed, which is that was a team C was saying that he did not want to see when he knew we were a 6, the South Florida bunch. What do you guys think of South Florida and Louisville? Any contest or no?
It matters to me. It matters if the guard plays. If Mikel Brown plays.
Yeah, if Mikel Brown doesn't play, then I like South Florida a ton. I almost like him even if he does play. He's been in and out of the lineup so much, and Louisville's not going to get anything from their 4-5s in that matchup. South Florida's big. I like the South Florida team a lot. I think South Florida beats them.
Let's take South Florida in the upset. Michigan State against the Jackrabbit. Put Michigan State through. UCLA, UCF, guys, 7-10 matchup. Maury, we picking your boy, Maury?
It matters if their 2 guys are healthy. I heard today that they're supposed to be, but if they're not, that's a tough game for them. But if they're healthy, he's I think they'll win. But if those are 2 those are two, huge players. They're their best leading scorer and their best point guard.
So we'll take UCLA, put them against UConn. Maury, what happens?
I'd hate to say it, but I think UConn would win.
Yeah, I agree with that. That guy's annoying.
Okay. The committee's flying Mick Cronin all the way out to Philly.
You like it?
Yeah, how about that?
Another Legion overnighter.
South Florida. South Florida against Michigan State. That's a damn good line. Who y'all got? Pick a team, everybody.
I'm not
Go ahead,
Michigan State offense. It's like I respect Izzo. This offense, their offense scares the hell out of me. Like, it just gets so bogged down. I do think that South Florida team has the chops to play with them, but if I was just picking a bracket, I would advance Izzo.
Yep. But watch South Florida, boys and girls. That's why we're doing this. Florida advances into the round of 32 and the 16. Okay, Maury, one of your old stomping grounds, Clemson and Iowa. Ironically
Tony,
enough,
want to talk about talk about a game that'll be boring. It's like listening to you, talk about various subjects. I mean, what do you think the over under is on that game?
It's 130.5. Yeah, I already looked at the under. It's gonna be. Tony, that game's gonna be a slog.
I have a saying. I won't say all of it, but my boys that are listening, sanded and waxed. I mean, I'd rather be sanded and waxed than have to watch that game.
Hey, who you got, Matt, in that one? Put Clemson through for Dabo?
Yeah, put Clemson down. Yeah.
And then Florida draws them. Vanderbilt meets McNeese. Do we all agree on that? Yes.
Yeah.
On the other side, we got Nebraska, Troy. Hey, Maury, let's give your boy his first win.
Yeah, I hope so. It would be nice for him in the school.
I'm putting Vandy into the 16, though, for some reason, and they're going to play Florida, and it's going to be a hell of a game in the Sweet 16. Then we come down on the other side of that bracket. We got North Carolina. Maury, are you surprised they made North Carolina a 6 seed? They honored the injury that North Carolina had and bumped them, Maury. Is that just in your mind?
Yeah, I mean they didn't play great down the stretch, and your best players, out for the year and has been. I mean, how about this, Tony? He was injured, sat out, came back with a wrist injury, and then was warming up and dunking a ball and broke his fingers.
Again. That's unreal, man.
I mean, you can't make that stuff up.
Some things were just not meant to be, were they? Let's take North Carolina. We're going to put them through. Phil Martelli Jr., I love it. I'm for it, not against it. If Phil Martelli Jr. were to win that game, he might get a shot at Anthony's Penn boys, who I have upsetting Illinois. I'm just kidding. We'll put Illinois through, but that's a great story, Anthony. Your Penn boys winning the Ivy.
Fran McCaffrey.
Fran and Underwood, that's a lot of familiarity there.
That is a good point, Lee. I mean, for what it's worth.
Illinois, Penn can't beat them.
No, it's not going to happen.
But it is interesting. I mean, Fran does know Underwood really, really well.
All right, boys, this is where it gets interesting here. We've got Buckyball and we've got St. Mary's. One of those teams in that league Maury was talking about that has a little coin out west.
It's a real clash of styles in that one.
Yes.
It's the most hilarious matchup of the first round. Buckyball versus St. Mary's. I think it's hilarious.
Who do y'all got?
Me, I'm pulling for St. Mary's myself.
I think St. Mary's going to win. A&M is they're heading in the other direction. Houston and Idaho, we'll put Houston through. All right, so over here we've got to get to the round of 16, North Carolina, Illinois. If the chalk holds, a beat up North Carolina team. Illinois.
For me, Illinois.
I agree with that. Boy, Illinois has those international players. I wish we'd swim in those international waters a little more. Unfortunately for us, Matt, when we swim in them with Kumwa. We swim in them with this guy this year, Iceberg.
Vescovi was pretty good.
Vescovi was good, yeah.
The mental deal his last year.
That was weird. I'm gonna take Houston.
Who was the big Euros, right?
Oh, Uros Plavsic.
Yeah, our big goon enforcer
who belongs in WWE.
East Ponds too.
Oh, East Ponds is a good one. Thank you, Lee. By the way, if this were the 1980s, Plavi would have a spot in the NBA because he'd be one of those goons out there with Paul Mokeski and all those dudes. Houston gets through Illinois and gets the Elite Eight. Florida gets through Vandy and gets the Elite Eight. I'm going to put UConn through to the Elite Eight and Duke. That's a pretty good Elite Eight right there. All right, let's go out west. Let's see here. Where am I? Let's go Arizona. It goes through. They're a 1 seed. Okay, Villanova, Utah State, guys, 8-9 matchup. Who we like?
I would say Utah State, but that's just me. I mean, Kevin Willard's done a great job this year.
I'll keep it.
What do you think? How do you think Maryland? People at Maryland didn't like him, but as much as they didn't like him, you'd think they probably want him better than Buzz, right? After this year,
Buzz wears on you. Wisconsin over High Point. Will that be a close game, guys, or will Wisconsin roll them?
I think they'll pull away from them at the end, but High Point can score with them for a while. Like I said, it's really entertaining game. Wisconsin should be able to pull away from them though at the end.
Arkansas over Hawaii. All right, Arkansas, Wisconsin, guys. What do y'all think? Does he get to the 16, Coach Cal?
Like I think that's a coin flip. Like, I have a hard time picking that one.
Matt?
Yeah, I just think Arkansas's got dudes, and they got guys that can come off the bench and give them great games if needed. They just have too much for – I've said it really since January. I think they have the highest march upside of any SEC team, even though they'll have a tough draw after winning this one.
Yep, because they'll get Arkansas and they'll get Arizona, rather, in the round of 16. And if that is the case, that will be a hell of a basketball game. I mean, pull up a chair and let's go. BYU with the payroll is, I think, overrated here. I think they played like a 7 seed personally, but they've got DeBonza and they've got some star power. They play the play-in winner of Texas NC State. Do either of those two teams give BYU fits, guys? They're in the same spot we're in. As a 6.
Yeah, because BYU doesn't play any defense, and that whole pod right there is all offense. BYU.
Yeah, that'll be like an AAU game broke out.
Yeah, all those teams are all offense. So it's who shows up and plays defense, whichever one you trust. It ain't NC State. I don't trust them. I don't trust Texas's defense, and I don't trust BYU's defense. I don't know. I would lean the winner of that play-in game beating BYU.
Wow.
I'm just not sold on BYU. I thought they looked really,
I agree
really
with
bad.
that. No, I agree with that. Let's take NC State up there. Gonzaga wins. Does Gonzaga have enough guys to get to the 16? Will they get there?
With the matchup that they have, I would say yes.
I agree with that.
But not nowhere close to one of his better teams, though.
No, sir.
No. But again, it's just
matchups.
You don't need to be. It's who you're playing against.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a great draw for them.
Great draw. All right. Down below, who will they see in the round of 16? You've got Miami, Missouri in the 7-10 game.
How about Missouri? How about Missouri getting to play in St. Louis as a 10 seed?
What do you think of that, Mo?
You talk about the bracket breaking in your way.
Mm-hmm. And Jai Lucas has to go up there, and does Missouri have enough
he had a great year.
Yeah.
He had a great year. Biggest turnaround in college basketball this year.
Yep.
You're the higher seed, and you've got to basically go play a home game.
Do they care enough to show up? It'll be very interesting. Who do you guys have in that one?
Well, it'll be all Kentucky fans there.
That's another good point. Who do you have, Matt, in that one?
I've not watched Miami at all, but I'm not sure Missouri. They've got Mark Mitchell can take over a game and probably the best player on the floor. I'd probably take Missouri, but that's just because I know what kind of team they are a lot more than Miami.
Let's go with the league. Let's give Missouri a bone here. Purdue in a 2:15 game. How about the Queens program, Maury? Division II to playing Purdue in the NCAA tournament. Be careful what you wish for, huh?
Exactly, in from Charlotte, but then there'll be Purdue. That'll be like a home game for Purdue in St. Louis.
All right, Michigan advances out of whoever they play. All right, here's one: Georgia, St. Louis. We talked about this earlier. Matt, I'm gonna let you break the tie. Those two guys were on each opposite sides of this one. Who do you like, Matt?
St. Louis has really struggled down the stretch,
yes,
but I think I'm not going to pick Mike White to win a tournament game.
Totally agree with that. You took the words right out of my mouth. If it comes down to coaching in that game, St. Louis wins that game, and Danny falls in love. Danny falls in love. Texas Tech against Akron in a 5-12 matchup. Maury, you were kind of popping this Akron bunch. You sort of like them.
They've been to 3 straight NCAA tournaments, Tony. Again, I know the MAC is a solid league.
Do they get through?
No big NIL, not great athletes and whatnot. But
Tech's got Toppin.
John Gross is a coach that he didn't do well at Illinois because he wouldn't play in the gray areas, but he's won at Ohio. He's won it at Akron. I think he should be the guy hired at Georgia Tech, but what do I know? But with Texas Tech losing their best player, they've played pretty good since then. I would probably have to lean Texas Tech, but I think it'll be closer than people think. I don't know if Lee knows what the line is in that game, but I think it'll be a close game.
And Alabama Hofstra in the 4-13 game. Do the Dutchmen have anything, Lee, for that wacky Alabama bunch who are real feast or famine, depending on when you see them?
I think they can actually keep that relatively close, man. It's a massive clash of styles. Hofstra's going to slow that thing down to a crawl. Hofstra's defense is actually really, really good. They're going to pack the paint in. Like they're going to force – Bama's going to have to – they're going to shoot threes. It just comes down to whether or not how many of them they hit. But Hofstra's got 2 really good guards that I think can hang in that game. I don't think they can beat them, but I'll be looking at Hofstra as a play.
All right. Texas Tech against Alabama, guys. What happens?
Texas. It's easy to say Alabama can shoot in or out of each game, but
yes,
I just think with Toppin being out, I would favor Alabama.
I agree with that.
That's just me.
It's too much. It's too much. And Alabama. This is a tournament for Philon here. Opportunity for him. Moving time for him. Okay. Let's go to Tennessee, Miami, Ohio, SMU. We'll put the Vols through. We'll put Virginia over Wright State. Santa Clara over Kentucky. Yes, guys?
I would say
so. For it. I think they can beat them for sure. Yeah.
All right. And then Iowa State gets by. And by the way, shout out to Tennessee State for getting into the field. That's a great story.
Nolan Smith did an awesome job with them this year.
Really
incredible
wonderful.
Job.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bunch of high major coaches he's got on that staff that knew what they were looking for, putting that roster together. That they're very big for a low mid major. They've got size. They're going to pressure the hell out of you, like try to turn you over a bazillion times. Now they're in a different class against Iowa State, but yeah, he did an awesome job this year. Like they're going to battle. They can't win, but they'll put up a good fight.
All right, boys, the rubber's going to meet the road here. Tennessee, Virginia. By the way, Tennessee thinks their game is going to be played in the evening session in Philadelphia. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would probably, again, just being a non-betting man, I would, with them not wanting to bring the teams from Dayton and play in the morning session.
Yes,
that would probably make sense.
Yeah, Tennessee feels like they're going to play at night. I just got a text. I don't know if they're going to play at night, but that they feel like they're going to play at night. What do you guys think? Sunday afternoon, Matt. Rice fans.
I don't think it's a great matchup. You'll need Amen Gillespie to play well. You'll be on the quick turnaround, which isn't ideal for for Ament and or Estrella. Just going off history, Virginia wins.
Damn, Matt. You know how to take the air out of a room.
You want me to? I mean,
no, I agree with you. We're picking our bracket.
Pretend.
I agree with it. I agree with you. Although I'll say this. If you look at this bracket, Tennessee potentially, if Alabama upsets Michigan, could get Alabama in the round of 16. That's a pretty damn good bracket.
When you have Nate Ament, who you can give the ball to, he can take over games. He can win win any game for you in this field against outside of maybe the top 2 or 3 teams.
You're exactly right.
You always have a chance with a guy like Ament.
Santa Clara, Iowa State, boys, on the other side of this
Iowa State.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
I would favor Iowa State.
I meant to say Tennessee, it was Tennessee, Iowa State for the right to get to the Elite Eight is what I was saying. And then they would play either Michigan or Alabama. But the point is this. If Tennessee drew an Iowa State for the round to get to the 8, that's pretty damn strong draw. Now, I don't know if this team got enough.
Virginia, Tone.
Yep.
Virginia's they're the number 1 rim defense in the entire country. Effective field goal percentage at the rim, like nobody can score on them at the rim. They keep 2 7-footers on the floor at all times. Grunlow and the Udenzo guy last night who had 9 blocks against Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, how many balls do you think he'd block of your man Evans?
Or Carey.
Carey.
Yeah, how about that?
God.
Yeah, they're going to force him. If that was the matchup, Tennessee's you have to hit outside shots. And also offensively, Virginia is heavily drive and kick. Like they're going to drive, which we can't really stop.
Hate. They'll get wide open either. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have and they keep 3 shooters on the court on the floor at all times. They're probably going to get wide open threes. Like I think it's a really, really bad matchup for Tennessee against Virginia. Or look at it. But that being said, Virginia's they haven't played the toughest schedule.
No, they're not tested at all. Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't totally write them off, but just on paper, the matchup doesn't look great for Tennessee against Virginia.
But to Matt's point, you get in games like this, you need the guy you paid $4 million for to be Superman that night.
That's right. Virginia is.
They don't have a player like him.
In foul trouble.
Yes.
They'll be very aggressive going after blocks.
Yep.
And we know Ament does. He does try to. He draws fouls.
Yep.
So there's a path for Tennessee for sure. It's a tough one, but it's going to be tough anyway in the second round, regardless of who you got. So.
Hey, Maury, in the women's thing, they just threw the 8-9 up in Los Angeles, and Tennessee's not going out there. And they didn't get.
I'm sorry, Tony.
And the women's draw is being shown on ESPN right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lady Vols did not get shown in Storrs, Connecticut, so they're not the 8-9 there. And the conventional wisdom was they were going to ship them west. They're not going west because it's Oklahoma State and Princeton as the 8-9 game out in Los Angeles. I'm sitting here watching the women's draw as we continue to wind our way through the bracket. All right, guys, we're now in the round of 8, the final 8, baby, the final 8. Or are we in the Sweet 16? Let's do the Sweet 16 games, then we'll get to the 8. Arkansas against Arizona. Matt, who we got? That Arizona bunch is beatable there.
Arizona looked really good the last couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
That game with Iowa State the other day might have been the game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt, I like both of those teams a whole lot. I guess you probably give it to Arizona, but it wouldn't shock me at all if Arkansas won because, again, I think Arkansas might have better guard play overall, and they've got some dudes off the bench that can just score.
What do you think, guys?
I think Arizona's, again, that's why, I guess that's why they're number 1 seed, but
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree, that Acuff can score and that he can go get it when he wants, and they get some of the good pieces around him.
Mm-hmm.
But I would lean Arizona. I just think Arizona's got a well-rounded team. They got bigs. They got, they can defend. They got guards that can score.
Gonzaga, Purdue, fellas, on the other side of that bracket to face Arizona.
Purdue struggled late, but you saw in the Big Ten tournament what they do. I would pick them, but
I agree with that.
I don't know about the other two.
The guard plays too good, man. And their guard picked it up and played great in the Big Ten tournament. Now, Lee, did they deserve to jump like they jumped to the 3? Because they didn't award our SEC tournament the same way they awarded the Big Ten's tournament winner.
I'm assuming they already had them slotted there. Is what I'm assuming.
No, he gave an interview. He gave an interview to CBS, and he actually said we had to move them up after they won the tournament.
Oh wow,
we jumped them a line. He said.
Well, okay, well that's a little bit inconsistent.
I mean, what are we doing?
St. John's.
Well, yeah, and St. John. And St. John's too. So okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Purdue coming into the season, I thought Purdue was at the very top of the country, is one of the best teams in the league. Mm-hmm. I still think there's some red flags with that team. I know they played well in the Big Ten tournament. They got a couple of really easy draws. The first 2 games in that tournament versus teams that are not athletic in Northwestern and Nebraska. I think teams that have athleticism, especially on the wings, Purdue has real trouble stopping. So they played better. They do have a pretty high ceiling. I mean, it's a bunch of veteran guys out there that have played a lot of basketball together. Gonzaga, I think, was surprised people because of their defense. This is the best defensive team that Few's ever had. Mm-hmm. That's where they've kind of hung. You know, that's what they've been relying on ever since they lost Huff about 2 months ago. I kind of like Gonzaga in that matchup.
Gonzaga over Purdue?
Yeah,
I
do that personally, but
I love that. I hope that happens, man. All right, Michigan, Bama, guys, in the Sweet 16.
I would take Michigan. I think Michigan destroys them in the paint, absolutely annihilates them at the rim.
Michigan is a more skilled version of Tennessee is what they are. They're a big, mean, nasty basketball team with guards that can play. Really play.
Their size is just unreal,
It's
man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
They look like they were drawn up in a laboratory somewhere, Lee, when you watch them.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted out at halftime last year in the tournament game when Tennessee played UCLA. I said Barnes needs to be in Mara's ear right now, trying to get him on the team. And of course, he winds up in Michigan. Yeah, that Michigan team, I think the size, is too much. I think they destroyed Bama at the rim if that was the matchup we get. This Bama team doesn't play defense. They don't rebound the ball. It's like I said, they're such high variant games with Bama. It's whether or not they hit threes or not. That's what all their games come down to. So they would have to hit a bazillion of them, I think, to beat Michigan, which is possible. I would just bet against it myself.
In the round of 16, Matt, it's Virginia against Iowa State to get to Michigan. Who you got?
I'd take Iowa State.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think they're a really solid team, and they're really battle tested. Got some guys.
They have the guard play that Tennessee doesn't to beat Virginia, I think.
Hey, Maury, that one guard spot we're lacking in, I mean, it goes without saying, that's a huge deal, isn't it, Mo? Just huge. When you
just for a lot of reasons, but also it's usually that's your third scorer, and Tennessee does not have that.
And not only that, but the guy can't defend either. He doesn't move his feet.
Yep.
No offense.
And that's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean it's. Hey, Lee, them winning 22 games with this team is a hell of a coaching job. Let's just say that at the outset of this tournament. I mean, if they get beat in the first round, it's a hell of a coaching job, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, for them to be able to figure out how to win games and do it relatively consistently to get to that number of wins, it is. And I mean, obviously, you have to. They're the ones that put together the roster, so I get the criticism.
Yeah,
like I totally get it, But given what they had, for them to do what they did, I do think it's pretty daggone impressive. I mean. The whole thing with the two guard, like it got worse and worse and worse, and to be honest, like it really wasn't even just Boswell. Like nobody at the end of the year can stay in front of a guard who can maintain their dribble, whether or not it's Boswell, Berg, Evans, Gillespie, none of them could.
G-Max Tapeworm, Matt wants to know as we inject a little brevity into this, or levity. Why is Bino not on set with you guys, and why is he not on set with Charlie Cream? G-Max Tapeworm, I'll tell you this. It's interesting you'd bring that up. Bino is currently monitoring the women's draw from his shelter that he has down in Lenoir City. He has hunkered down for the evening. He has ceased all communications with the exception of anything incoming from that women's tournament where he can digest it and not be bothered with Shino or any other outside distractions. Bino is a man locked in. You know what I wish? I wish I didn't pick against Tennessee in the round of 32 on here tonight, but we're looking at the entire field, and if you're going to have credibility looking at the entire field, in my mind, I just don't know if Ament can turn around and play on a quick turnaround after seeing what I saw in Nashville. That scares me. Now, granted, it's not the next day, and he's off his feet. But Maury, is that a fair take by me, Maury? Because that is a pretty quick turnaround.
Tony, usually don't have very good ones, but that's actually a good one. Because he's been beat up the last week or two, and have to turn around and come back and play on a. Again, it's not the next day, but it is it could be 36, 40 hours from the time they finish the game, depending on what TV makes the tip time. So definitely is. And again, they don't have a lot of scores. And again, I think to win more than one game, somebody's going to have to come up and be a third scorer.
Tennessee is
and not just Ament, but Estrella too on the quick turnaround. We saw him the other day. He didn't have his legs, and we've talked about Virginia's size. Carey will almost certainly have a poor game if he's out there. So you would need Estrella on that quick turnaround to be able to play well too for you.
And look, it's March. I mean, we could shoot the ball well, and your Virginia could get beat. Who knows? But, that matchup doesn't feel I don't know. It doesn't feel good from here. That feels like a game we lose. But it's still a pretty good draw for the Vols when you look at who they could have played, because the other games you would have had Illinois, Michigan State, or the Zags in that spot. When you just look at the seed lines, and I'm not sure you'd want any of those teams at this point. I just wish this team was healthy. Even healthy, they're still kind of flawed, as we know. But boy, this is kind of a beat up basketball team right now, like almost ground into fine powder, is what they looked like the other day. But I hope Ament is able to go and can do his thing. All right, we haven't seen the Lady Vols name yet. Bino continues to hunker down.
Tony, want to hear a great tweet that came out? I'm not on Twitter, but
hit it.
Bruce Pearl. I asked a question of the commissioner, and the answer he gave, and Bruce Pearl basically says, nobody got screwed here. As always, it's close, but he's still beating the thing that Auburn should be in. But Auburn was better than SMU in 5 out of the 7 metrics, and the numbers and quality wins aren't even close.
Lee,
I mean, it's not an election. You can't go back and get a recount.
Hey, Lee, does Pearl understand that at some point you have to win games? I had a caller tell me the other night, nobody with the BPI with the numbers that this guy had, that Auburn has ever been left at home. At some point, you have to win games, don't you, Lee?
Yeah, look, Auburn wasn't the only team that had a really difficult non-con. Give them credit for scheduling them, but if you're going to schedule them, you're going to have to win your share of them. I know they got a couple of them, but look, if you battle-tested yourself so well in the non-con, you should have been more prepared not to lose to the lower dregs teams that you did lose to, that cost you, Like, you should have been prepared. Like, I know the roster wasn't it certainly wasn't what it was last year.
Yeah.
But it was you still had some talent on that roster. That there's not excuses for losing some of the games that you lost. And he got nobody to look at but himself. I mean, it is what it is, man.
Bruce Pearl, and you know what he was getting at, Maury? He didn't get as whiny on the air as I thought he would get. He kind of kept it professional. But you knew he would go on Twitter and rip the guy. And by the way, Maury,
and then how about he had that stat about SMU just teed up?
Yes, of course. And his son, they can go have fun in the NIT Because really,
no, Tony, I'll bet you a beer. Now again, every bet I make with you, when I win, which is most of them, you never pay up. But I would bet 2-1 odds that they're going to turn the NIT down.
Nobody goes to the NIT anymore, do they? Kentucky, the 5 seed, Matt, in Morgantown, West Virginia. I still haven't seen the Lady Vols called. So the only region left for the Lady Vols is South Carolina's region, Matt. Maybe as the 8-9 seed, a rematch against Dawn Staley over there in her building.
Ooh.
Huh?
Ooh.
I mean, you talk
I didn't
about.
think they did that with conference teams in the opening round or opening weekend, but maybe they have to with how many get in.
Yeah. With it may be different in the women's.
Yeah. Let's go back to our phones. We're
Is
still
Bino
watching.
really going to have Jimmy Dykes on to break it down when the draw's announced for the Lady Vols? Is that true?
Bino?
Yeah.
He's trying to get him because, he
have Coach Dykes on.
Well, Berkey's a big buddy of his, and I don't know. Bino is planning something for his special podcast that his release. Let's go back to the phones. Hello and welcome in. You are on our draw show.
Hey, what's up, guys? Joshy boy.
Wings.
Have they announced any tip times yet for the game?
No, I haven't seen, but Tennessee thinks they're playing at night, but who knows?
Okay. So my first question, what do you guys think about Vandy's draw that they got? Because I thought they got a pretty good draw.
We think they're going to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, that's what I think, too.
Yeah, we think
Moving over to the Vols, I thought they got a really good draw as well. They could either go to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8, in my opinion.
Wow, you got him getting through Virginia?
Yeah, I have Virginia as a toss-up game.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think of any of the teams on that line that they could have drawn, Virginia is probably their best bet. But again, like Matt said, they're plenty big, and they're going to be a total headache. Total headache.
Okay. Question for Lee. Lee, which mid-major 15, 14, or 13 could you see pulling an upset in the first round?
15, 14, or 13.
You like any of them, Lee? That's such a devalued part of the bracket now under the current finances of the sport.
I don't think any of them, honestly, can pull an upset in the first round. Like I said, I like that Hofstra team. I think just stylistically that they can make that tough against Bama, but I don't think they can beat them. Yeah, just the way the landscape of college basketball, it's hard for me to really honestly sit here and say this team has a real legit shot of pulling an upset as far as a 15, 14, or a 13 in this bracket.
I gotcha. Tony, could you see all one seeds get into the Final Four?
It looks like that might be what we do on our bracket here. We haven't picked yet, but it looks like it could be heading in that direction. But that's what we get last year, guys. 3 or 4? Is that right?
All 4 won.
They all made it.
Oh, they all okay.
Yeah.
It's just like, in that sport right now, you spend the money, you go. Tennessee gets in, Maury, as a 10 seed. A 10 seed, Maury. They will play Michigan in the second round in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Maury. They play NC State, Maury, in Ann Arbor. What kind of clubs does NC State have, Maury?
They've been down this year. You're talking about the women's game?
Yeah. Yep.
Tony, yeah. The coach, I forget his name. He used to be at Chattanooga. NC State has been very good in the past couple of years. They're down a little bit this year, but and then they would get if they won, they would play Michigan.
Lady Vols looked excited during that draw to get their 10.
I think Houston Fancher is an assistant for that NC State.
Yeah, he is.
I think that's right. Yes.
And I think they played the first game of the year this season. I mean, the Lady Vols
Tennessee played them. Exactly.
Wow, Matt. Matt dropping knowledge on you, Josh.
Well, Christ, they have a 7-game losing streak or whatever. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Tony, I'd rather watch Bino's softball swing than the Lady Vols.
Josh, you're out of here. Nobody cares about what you think, you clown. All right, boys. as we bring it home here, we're down the home stretch. Duke, UConn, guys, who we got?
For me, I just trust Duke more.
Even with
this UConn team has been pretty maddening. I think it's looked average a whole lot more than it has looked like a real contender for a large part of the season. I thought yesterday was a giant red flag in the Garden. Look, I think they got a lot of talent. Hurley obviously has a pedigree. He's done well in this tournament, obviously. He killed it for 2 years. But this team is just not – they just haven't been right, like, all year long. I think Duke would handle them.
Hey, Matt, Paulie Joe's next vet appointment, Matt, reminds me that we opened the season with NC State and lost. You're right. That was like around – it's like one of the holidays or something. I seem to remember that. All right, Florida, Houston, Matt. Who we got? That'd be a hell of a game in the Elite Eight. Those two hard-nosed teams.
I mean, Florida's just really good, been a juggernaut, but they're one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the field. I think they'd have the worst three-point shooting to make a Final Four of any team since the thing expanded to 68.
Wow.
You know who Houston's going to be. I know Kingston Fleming, the really good freshman guard for them, has kind of hit a wall here down the stretch. But I just don't think Florida's got enough outside guard play and outside shooting to make a deep run. I think Houston gets them.
Mo, what do you think?
I agree. Florida's under 31 from three, Tony. Last time I checked, they're like Boogie Flan, he shoots 23%. I mean, their guards are just horrendous from three.
Duke and Houston, who the hell knows? Arizona, Purdue, guys.
For me, Arizona.
All right, we got Arizona in the Final Four. And then Iowa State, Michigan, out of our bracket. I don't see anybody beating that Michigan bunch in our bracket. Lee, do you?
I don't. I think Michigan's. Yeah, I like Michigan there. Yeah, I think Michigan makes it out of that side. They've been too good all year long. That size is just too much of a monster in a tournament setting, man. I don't know what you can do to really combat that stuff sometimes when they're playing high-low with like a 7'6" guy to a 6'11" guy throwing alley-oops. Like,
it's freaky.
What are you supposed to do? You know?
Yeah, it's freaky to watch these guys. Michigan's just so we've got two Big 12 teams, Arizona and Houston. We've got, which is weird to say that Arizona's a Big 12 team, but hey, it is what it is.
But one thing too, Tone, if Houston and Florida play in the Elite Eight, that game's going to be played in Houston.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, the Sweet 16, the second round is in Houston.
Wow.
And a rematch of the title game last year. Which is fair to Houston because they had to play Purdue and Indianapolis last year as like a 1 seed.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Matt. That's exactly right. Well, boys, it's been fun. Lady Vols are in as a 10. I got to clear the deck here. Bino's up next with his draw show. As soon as Charlie Cream finishes, Bino will be in here breaking it down scientifically. I understand Maria Cornelius is going to be in here with him. He's going to have a full cast of characters.
Is that why Titans Bill was calling you to
probably,
get the log in?
Feverishly, yes. Titans Bill might even be a special guest on that thing for all I know. Boys, thank you. It was a lot of fun, boys, tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tom.
It's a great time of the year, y'all. This is March Madness, y'all. By the way, shout out to TGMD who did double duty today. You talk about a total sicko. TGMD is a sicko. He is a sicko. We love you. We appreciate you. My name's Tony Basilio. We love you. We thank you. Thank you for your support. All the wonderful sponsors you see on your screen. Please support our sponsors when you get an opportunity. We appreciate you. Peace. And G to the B to the O. Enjoy the tournament. Let's do it. Let's do our thing. And it's pretty next level. Very excited to be here. My name's Tony Basilio. Maury Hanks is there, along with Matt Dixon. We will have a cast of folks that are going to stop by. C's going to stop by. We're going to have some other folks in the hunt with us as well. But in the meantime, Tennessee draws either SMU or Miami of Ohio in Philadelphia on Friday, and for the rights to play Virginia more than likely in the round of 16. The rights to play Virginia more than likely in the round of 16. But let me get without further ado, because you really got to win one before you got to get a foot in the rung here in this tournament. So let me bring Maury and Matt in here. Eminem. Maury, your thoughts on the draw. Let Matt's voice rest after his work earlier today.
Tony, I think it's a great draw. Again, I don't know a lot about Miami of Ohio's individual, players. I know that they won a lot of games. They didn't play a lot of great people. They won a lot of close games. If you look at their, like I talked about, I think the other day, teams that make tournaments or don't make tournaments win close games. And